Hi guys, not my usual video. I'm not really into car maintenance, that sort of thing, but I did come across a little problem at the weekend, so thought it was worth sharing. So a bit of a bizarre one. I had a bit of work to do on my car. I had to take the sump off and stuff like that just to make sure there was no rubbish left in the oil, because it had been a while since it had an oil change. So anyway, pulled the car up onto the blocks at the back, adjusted my mirror so I could see the rear block, and my mirror actually jammed open, so it was a bit of a odd one. But anyway, so this is the controller that was on at the time. So I was adjusting my mirror and all of a sudden it jammed, so I managed to knock it off with this one. And at the time I thought that was it, so obviously got both the windows down, and just so I could hear my friend telling me where to go. Now what then happened was, after about 6.5 hours of working on the car, doing all what we was doing, giving it a service, come to the end and locked up, and then just as I adjusted my mirrors to pull off the blocks again, it was an odd one really, because the mirrors wouldn't move, and then I realised my windows wasn't working. So I started doing a bit of looking to, well, what could we have touched? Did we dislodge something when we was doing the work? But we haven't really took anything electrical off other than the oil sensor on the sump, so nothing else really has been affected. We had also changed the rocker cover, so checked the wiring around there, and everything did look okay. So it was a bit of an odd one. Didn't really know what to do. Ended up having to drive home with the windows completely down, because I just couldn't get them up, and it was getting late on the evening. So started looking into diagrams you can find on the internet. Mine ended up being the version A, so a lot of the fuses and stuff are in the rear glove compartment on my Astra, because it's an estate and there's a little box. Pop in there and you can see that's where it says to check for your electric windows. It's 30 amp fuse, so check them, they was fine. So I was at a bit of a loss. I actually have had one of these units fail before, so this actually wasn't for my car. This was one that had rear windows as well, but mine only has actually got front windows. So after checking the fuses, seeing all the obvious stuff, there was nothing really sticking out for me. Looked on the Vauxhall forums, and a lot of them were saying, there was nothing up on the dashboard, by the way. A lot of them were saying similar sort of problems. Also that the rear wiper wasn't working. So I checked my rear wiper, and again that wasn't working. And then because it was late in the evening and I was still playing about my car, I noticed that this light here, for your rear heat on your windows, was also on constantly, and when you pressed it, it wouldn't go off. So a bit odd, but after trying different things, couldn't seem to find what the problem was convinced must be the box. So I did take the box off and then took the box apart. It's just 4 screws, and then you just use these clips down here, just prise it open, and you can see there's like a circuit board. The pins drop through. It's got like a rubber cover, like a silicone cover over the buttons. It all seemed to be okay, but I thought, well, I'll clean the contacts up. But on inspection, I don't know if you can hear this, but see how that sounds like a button? Sounds like a button. Nothing. See that? Sounds like a button. Sounds like a button. Buttonish. But this one, nothing. When I'm pushing on it, there's no pushback. So I don't know if you can hear that. I hope you can. So it was locked down in this position, so I thought, well, that's a bit odd. Check the continuity on the back with the back pins, so if you run from 26 to 11 and 12, that should be your switch on here, and that seemed to be fine. So now I was confused, but I'd gone away and I'd ordered another one of these I was waiting to come. This is the actual one for my car, so that's what it should have been. This was picked up from a scrapyard. Basically works the same, but it hasn't got the pins for the back. Anyway, picked up another one then. Before that arrived, had another look at the wiring diagrams. Now, although everything that you would expect that was problematic was actually in the rear fuse box, not under the bonnet, there is actually a fuse under the bonnet, which was number 33 on my Vauxhall Astra H. That if you read the description, there's a few things that it does. It's only a 5 amp fuse, but it does say door module. Now the door module is actually this, and because it works off the land percent lighter system, there's loads of things that it connects to. So just out of chance, thought, well, I'll check that fuse. So I took that fuse out, little 5 amp one, and blow me, it was blown. So quickly replaced it, and then all of a sudden this light's gone off. This is now illuminated at night. So I thought, well, I'll give it a try. So this one's plugged back in at this stage. Tried the windows, flipping it up and down, brilliant. It's sorted. Rear wipers sorted. As soon as I actually went to touch the mirrors like this, the mirror jammed up again, and then all of a sudden stopped, nothing. So this was definitely at fault, and because this is jammed on, it was causing the fuse to blow. So then once again I had no windows. This light came on and the rear wiper wasn't working. So obviously then disengaged the, you have to have this engaged to do the mirrors. So I disengaged it, swapped the fuse again, put another fuse in. At this time I haven't got my new box, so with this one back in, then tried the windows, worked fine. I just didn't touch the mirrors at this stage. I didn't want to blow my fuse again. So yeah, I hope that helps people, because it was a bit of a nightmare to find, and I've seen a lot of forums, people discussing it, worried about not having enough voltage at this. But remember, there's not going to be a lot of voltage coming to this, because it's not, you're not getting 12 volts at it, 'cause it's on the camber sense system. So there was 12 volts at the door motor when we checked them, because we ended up having to power up the windows the day prior with a 12 volt battery and connecting it to the red, and then the ground to the brown was the ground, and then we just used a switch one, which was a yellow and green, I believe, just to bang the motors up, put the windows up. So I actually had windows that was completely closed, but at least it was up. So yeah, there you go. That was just so yes, the fault was actually in this switch, but the actual problem was the fuse under the bonnet, which was number 33. So yeah, there you go. Hope that helps people, because we was fishing around for quite a while. There's lots of fuses to check, and unsurprisingly it wasn't the ones that you'd expect. So just one for future reference, anyone having the same sort of problem. Hope this helps, guys. Cheers.